Hi everyone, today in this video I wanted to talk about quiet hours as a more sort of general thing. I did a video recently about Tesco's quiet hour because they had started doing it permanently at the end of last year. That's obviously a separate video, I'll try and remember to link that in the description as well, and my plans are to try and go back to see if it's improved and also to try the quiet hours at other shops as well. During kind of researching for those and what other stores do have quiet hours, I just thought I'd talk about it in more general terms. Quiet hours was started by the National Autistic Society to raise awareness about autism and sensory issues and how stores can be a kind of like a barrier to access the things you need because of how loud it is and how bright it is and things like that. So to make it more accessible for autistic people, they started doing the quiet hours. In some cases was basically, it's always sort of during April, which I believe is Autism Awareness Month, but it would be like a week long, and most stores for 1 hour a day would dim the lights, turn the music off, turn beeps down on the tills and those sorts of things. Every different supermarket has different policies on their quiet hours and what they do with them. I'll talk about more about that in a moment. But obviously developing from just doing it for 1 hour a week, and some stores only even did it 1 hour for one day of that week, like say on a Saturday morning or something like that. But most places got a bit more involved and would do it for an hour. Some stores which takes part in that, which is still ongoing as far as I'm aware, still being done every year, don't have their own quiet hours throughout the year, but from that some stores have progressed, moved a bit forward and developed a more permanent quiet hour. Just from memory, the two sort of supermarkets that got involved early on were like Asda and Morrisons. Tesco's is a newer thing, they only announced, I think it was beginning of November they started theirs, so it was announced not long before that they were going to start doing theirs. The 4 stores I could find information about online was Tesco's, Asda, Morrisons and Home Bargains. They're the only 4 that by sort of like googling the store name and quiet hour did I actually find out that they do them. I've tried googling other stores as well, Sainsbury's, Waitrose and things like that. You can kind of assume that because no information is coming up they don't have a quiet hour. I'll talk about Tesco a little bit first just because I've already been to their quiet hour, so I at least have the information to compare with what they say they are actually going to do in their quiet hour. Their quiet hours at the current time of filming, they do Wednesday mornings between 9 and 10 and they do Saturday mornings between 9 and 10. I found the information out for the 3 big supermarkets from an article that's from back in November, which is on a website called lovemoney.com. This was the first thing that popped up when I actually googled Tesco quiet hour, so I didn't look at other things. I've just taken the information on this website because they'll usually like contact the stores to get the information anyway. According to this article, and I'll read it straight from it, the lights will be dimmed and the checkout noises will be lowered at these times. Tesco also plans to reduce the noise of self-service tills and scan as you shop devices in the future. Now considering, like I said, they started that beginning of November, I went to the quiet hour about a month ago, so February, so like 4 months later. The lights were not dimmed, no volumes on anything was turned down, so not the tills, not the self-serve and not the scan as you shop, which in my store is right at the beginning, so you get bombarded with noise right at the beginning. They also have no advertisement, like no sign on the outside or in the entranceway to say quiet hour currently in progress between 9 and 10. I went in after the quiet hour had started, so I don't know if there was an announcement beforehand or announcement afterwards to say quiet hour starting, quiet hour stopping. That's something I'm going to look at in the future to see if they do that. So nothing to sort of know that it is actually quiet hour, it was simply the music turned off and that was it. There were still deliveries going on, there was still doing the online picking for online deliveries as well. So they're not adhering to their own policies of what they say they're going to do. If they're saying that they're going to dim the lights and they're not dimming the lights, they're not turning down noises they've said they were going to turn down. They're not really doing a very good quiet hour. Now The other two stores, Morrisons Quiet Hour, is also Saturday 9 till 10 a.m, but also Sunday 10 till 11 a.m. During these times the lights will be dimmed and the music turned off. Staff will avoid making announcements, reduce the movement of trolleys and baskets, as well as turn down electrical noises such as checkout beeps. Morrisons is something I'm planning to go to in a couple of weeks. I will probably go on a Saturday and I will be able to see whether they are actually adhering to those policies. But Morrisons have been doing it for a while, and I'm pretty sure pre-diagnosis I'd been during a quiet hour and noticed that the lights were dimmed and things were turned off. Asda is doing a quieter hour in all of its stores between 2 and 3 p.m. Monday to Thursday. So this is 4 hours a week, and between 2 and 3 p.m. is a little bit of a better time. A lot of neurodivergent people have issues with sleep and might not be able to wake up early to go to these 9 to 10 a.m. hours. So 2 to 3 p.m. is a lot better, and it doesn't clash with any of the others. The supermarket chain said that there will be reduced noise levels in store at this time to make shopping more accessible for customers with additional needs. So that sounds like a lot better one, and I will try and go to Asda during those times at some point to do a review of it and see if it's working. Home Bargains does their quiet hour every Saturday between 9 and 10 a.m, and it aims to stop all music played in Home Bargains stores. That's from an article from back in 2019, which is the first thing that comes up when you Google it. I don't know if you can see that light shine off the iPad or not, but this information actually comes up. It doesn't do this with any of the other stores. So because Home Bargains have been doing this now for 3 years, because these articles that it brings up the information are all dated back January 2019, you would hope that that's well established. So again, that's another store I will check out. Either local Home Bargains, that's going to be a lot easier. The only issue with these quiet hours is you've got 3 of these whose quiet hour is all at the same time. So if you are an autistic person who works during the week, then you're having to choose which one you're going to go to if you go to stores. So it takes 5 minutes for me to find this information out, so it looks like whoever has been the think tank behind making these permanent in these stores have obviously not looked, particularly Tesco's, as that is the more recent one. Home Bargains has been established for 3 years, Morrisons has been going for quite a while, so Tesco's, the kind of like newer one on the bandwagon, should have done their research. Yes, they've also put a Wednesday morning as well, which does give an alternative at least, and Morrisons do have a Sunday as well, which does give a little bit more choice. However, it would be better if there was more choice. So far in the actual choosing of the hours, Asda, with the fact that they've done it 2 to 3 p.m. on 4 days of the week, Monday to Thursday, is a lot better. However, that obviously doesn't make it accessible to those autistic people that work. The positive thing about having quiet hours is obviously not just making it accessible to people who are autistic, but it also makes it like you have a byproduct of accessibility to other people as well. The aim for this was done by the National Autistic Society, therefore it was aimed at autistic people, but you have people out there that suffer with migraines, headaches, cluster headaches, that also find shops too loud and too bright and will trigger headaches. There are people who are not autistic but do have sensory processing disorder, so if you have any form of auditory processing disorder, then this also makes it more accessible for those people as well. So you have this byproduct. Now the downside to the quiet hour, for me it's incredibly kind of, I don't know if it's really ableist, but it is definitely limited. Now if you look at the official statistics, so in the UK there are 800,000 people who are classified as regular wheelchair users, so those who need a wheelchair to be able to get out and about, cannot walk at all at any point. There are 700,000 people diagnosed autistic, so there's only a difference of 100,000 people. I'm using those. 100,000 people is not that much of a difference when you bear in mind that the population at the moment, the figure that is out if you Google population of UK, is 67.22 million. If you are making places accessible for one disability, you need to make it accessible for all, essentially. So I do find only being given an hour as kind of a bit of an insult. It is getting there though. I'll try and keep it positive. It is getting there. If you imagine that, like, less than 5 years ago there was no permanent quiet hours in supermarkets, it was just that like 1 week of the year. So there is that progress there, and I hope to see this progress extend to shops being accessible 24/7. Hopefully in the next couple of years we'll start having full accessible days for a quiet day rather than just a quiet hour. That would be progress that then would turn into, more days eventually will become, the whole of the opening hours of supermarkets. That is my hope for the future. Until that time, there is a little bit of a trick, because with lots of these hours being on a Saturday morning, which is for a lot of stores one of the busiest times, because everybody who works during the week tends to go out shopping on a weekend. So Saturdays are one of the busiest days. One of the ways to find the quietest time of day in those stores is if you Google what supermarket you want to go to and in what area, Google brings up a little graph. So just as a kind of like example, the Morrisons I'm planning to go to is in a place called Mansfield. So I've just Googled Morrisons Mansfield to be able to show you. It'll tell you obviously all the information. So on this right hand side, as you kind of look at it, it gives you all the details of the store. And if you scroll down a bit, it gives you this. So this is this day of the week. It's a Tuesday when I'm recording. So this is the graph for a Tuesday. So it's telling me at the time of day, and it's live, that it's a little bit busy. Now, if I'd have looked this last night and thought I'm going to go really early to Morrisons at 7 AM, usually not too busy. So if I was to go with my headphones and my sunglasses, then that would be a good time of day for me to shop, because there's not going to be that many people making noises. There's probably not going to be too many announcements because there's not as much work going on. It's the same at 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock at night. The graph goes really down. You have a little bit here as well, which you can click on the different days. Morrisons on a Saturday between 9 and 10 is when their quiet hours is. Now 9 o'clock in the morning, it says it's usually not too busy. 10 AM, usually a little bit busy. If I was to aim to get there for maybe just a little bit before 9 AM, that would be best for me, because it's not as busy at 9 AM. So that is one of the ways you can find out when your local store is busy, not busy, and then you can go at those quieter times. So that's just a little tip that I found out. That's pretty much everything about quiet hours that I could probably cover in one video. If you shop in quiet hours, let me know in the comments below why you prefer to shop in quiet hours. If you don't prefer to shop in quiet hours and you prefer to just shop at quieter times of the day, then let me know in the comments as well. It'd be interesting to see how many people actually take advantage of the quiet hours or not. But for this video, that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.